The female list would be like a laundry list of things that came down to height, income. Of course, nobody wants to seem shallow, so they don't want to come right out and talk about what kind of car you drive, what part of town do you live in, what do you do for a living, but if you kind of take it in its entirety, it is pretty shallow in some ways, right? Because it's like it's so specific to the point that, you know, women in their list, they don't realize you're talking about like not even 1% of the male population.
How long we been saying this?
Right.
We've been saying this for a while.
And I tend to be kind of like, I'm a real factual type of person. You know, I like stats. I like research. I like real, what's real, not imagined. And so by the time I would listen to women, it was like, where am I going to find these dudes? And then she's maybe a solid 6. And you're talking about a man who's a 10 plus, right? Top shelf dude. And he can date a supermodel, right? Because that's going to be his ideal, is going to be this at some level, whatever his flavor of supermodel is, right? Vixen, whatever, that's going to be his flavor. Yeah. And so it's kind of like women, I think a lot of the time don't realize their expectations are so ridiculous just because the average guy, just your average guy, is not 80% of those things. And so I put a lot of those stats in my book, my Love and Dating book. I put a lot of the stats around height, income, bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, that by the time you know, if a woman, and part of it is also that women have just taken so many strides professionally and from an education perspective, that in some ways they're running circles around men when it comes to income and education. And research shows that men and women tend to date on their level. They want to date someone who looks compatible to them even on paper. Yeah. So if you've got a woman with a master's degree or a doctorate, she wants to marry someone who's a doctorate, master's, or a doctorate. And so a lot has changed in the 21st century, right? So this is where we see the disconnect. But a man's list is quite different than a woman's list. A man's list men haven't really changed that much. It's women who have changed. A man's basic needs around his emotional needs being met and needing to feel like the man, in other words, how a woman makes him feel is like so high up on that list. And then sexual attraction. I mean, literally, it's, if a man is sexually attracted to a woman, there's practically almost nothing he won't do for that woman. Yeah. And I had a lot of men I would meet over the years. What I learned about men was that I would have men I knew, architects, lawyers, and they're dating the serial college student. She didn't even have an income, right? She lives with 3 other girls. They're dating the bank tellers. They're dating the waitress. You know what I mean? And I would be like, you're making all this money. You're an architect. They don't care if she's sexy, if she's pretty, if they have good conversation, and she makes them feel good. They're like, winning, I'm winning, you know, if they like the body and they, you know, and she's pleasant to be around and cool and a little challenging, a little spicy, maybe.
How she's like spicy.
I like a little bit of spicy, a little bit of edge, you know, not the drama, but that little bit of edge. That's a challenge. That's a challenge. Yeah. But women, that laundry list just rolls out, right? Men, and they don't understand. Men don't have that. It's not as complicated for men, and men get upset when I say men are simple, and it's like I don't even say anything to people on my YouTube when men are saying we're not simple. You make it sound like we're Neanderthals.
We are simple,
but men are so much more simple than women. Women, it's much more complicated, and so as women continue to go up, 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 their standards and expectations go up, up, up. So when I did that video, it was really about women. It was a very high-end woman, right? Because those are the women who are going to be hiring matchmakers. You're talking about that lawyer or that doctor or that woman who's got those degrees, that money, and all of that drives ego. So in her mind, she deserves this certain caliber of a man, but then they'll continue to get their heart broken because they keep trying to make it work with those types of men that they feel are a match, but those men don't really want them.
Well, you mind? So, thank you for sharing all that. And if you guys haven't watched the video, please go to her YouTube page.
Now, wait. No, one thing I have to say, 'cause